This is a difficult lineup. So I'm going to read a very small excerpt from a work in progress, and we'll see how it goes, because it's a work in progress, it's a work of accumulation, and this has been a work of extraction, so we'll see. But it's called What Could a Vessel Be? And I call it an inventory essay. The world that we currently inhabit, let me say one more thing. It began with an invitation to write something for the catalog of the 59th Venice Biennale on vessels, and I kept thinking about it, so now it's become a small book. What could a vessel be? The world that we currently inhabit began with those vessels called slave ships that came and went from St. Louis, Bristol, Rhode Island, and New York, from Senegambia and offshore Atlantic, from West Central Africa and St. Helena, from Southeast Africa and Indian Ocean islands, from the Bight of Benin, from the Bight of Biafra, from Liverpool and Lisbon, from Bahia, Havana, Marseille, Amsterdam, Port Antonio, Kingston, Jamaica, Rio de Janeiro, and London. The ships set out, one in the wake of another, 500 years of voyages of theft. The ships kept going and coming. More than 36,000 recorded voyages between 1514 and 1866 appear in the Transatlantic Slave Trade Voyages database. Those vessels were named Antelope, Formiga, the Phyllis, Alligator, Zong. The names went on and on. Now those ships, laden with people, fleeing one life and attempting to leap into another, that set off one after another, are surveilled, capsized, interdicted, turned back, fired upon, adrift, and unnamed or called Barca Nostra, O Barco, and left to die. A vessel is called a tender, a dinghy or other boat used to ferry people and supplies to and from a ship. There was a slave ship called Care. The transshipped learned corners, lines, and planes, learned space, learned the rocking and heaving of a ship and how to breathe unbreathable air, learned how to turn a 45-degree angle into a loophole. They jumped overboard. They turned wood into rope and climbed back on that ship. They survived deaths. They survived lives. This vessel has been moving for centuries. Is emergency a vessel? Is cruelty a vessel? Is venality a vessel? What can a vessel bear? The lights are out. She is already there when we arrive. Some heard her singing and registered her presence there as we filed in. Others did not. But gradually, everyone took notice and fell silent. She, the woman at the center of the room, half sits, half lies on a surface that appears to be both solid and rippling water. The crowd is all around her. She is the lone figure on the stage. She is not alone. She is lying/sitting, though I can't say resting. It is not rest, on something that floats, a raft or a mat or a dinghy, perhaps one of those wrecked and wretched boats that are still and yet capable of movement. There's a foil blanket around her shoulders. There's the uncrossable water surrounding her. There's a song. She is singing. It's a song that seems to tell that someone or someone's, perhaps everyone she loves, has been lost. Losses compounding and echoing across bodies of water, across crossings on land and sea, compounding and echoing across the centuries. Her song goes on and on. She is singing through and from exhaustion and a well of unexhausted love for the ones she cannot find, the ones who have been lost in the water, the ones who she looks for and sings to. That love is on her mind and in her throat. There is an undulating, a rotating red light, a ship light, a beacon that bathes the scene in emergency. Her song drenches us in yearning. Okwi Okpokwasili's performance works the edge of the unbearable, stays on the edge of the unbearable, tips over into the unbearable. Her body was/is a vessel, suspended in impossible grief, taut and electric, lucid and fluid with despair. Quote, "We all stood there for some infinite time. We did weep, but that is nothing in comparison," end quote. A vessel is a continuous passage, is a floating factory, is a ghost ship, is adrift. Quote, there were 38 maritime vessels. They were all ocular if they chose to be, end quote. Are the things that we carry a vessel? 3 clumps of soil wrapped oh so carefully in plastic and sewn into the hem of a dress are a vessel that carries the memory and the dream of home. Can a vessel hold the desires of a young man, a so-called sharp boy, a smart dresser, who as he leaves home, preparing for a different life, decides that he will wear a t-shirt, whose now barely legible lettering reads, "Hello, is it me you're looking for?" What space is there on these terrible ships for fragility, for the spirit, for the delicacy of the vessel of the body? The look of a film, a name on the lips, a song on the tongue can be a vessel, one that breaks the back of words and shatters the names summoned to call us out of the names we recognize as our own. Is a vessel a chorus, a murmuration, a riot, a gathering, a note, a wail? There is the imagination as vessel. Steve McQueen's Lover's Rock is a vessel that knows that we Black people are constituted through and by continued vulnerability to overwhelming force, but that we are not known only to ourselves and to each other by that force. The scene is intimate, a party. The DJs are playing Janet Kay's silly games. Everyone is dancing, eyes closed, whining, grinding, touching and not touching. When the DJ stops the music, no one stops dancing. No one stops singing or moving. We see their faces close up and ecstatic. The joy is palpable. Desire is palpable. Even the wall sweats. In that moment, I know that saturation, the, quote, complete infiltration, permeation, and the presence in air of the most water possible under existent pressure and temperature, end quote, is a vessel. I also know that something past saturation, I also know that there is something past saturation, and that is where time shifts, something falls away, and we enter Blackness as movement, state change, evolution, quanta, and distance. Sweat is a vessel, a song is a vessel, and we have entered another atmosphere where we can breathe. The body is a vessel, tenderness is a vessel, risk is a vessel. If we lose something, we might become each other's vessels. When I tell you you mine, I also mean I'm yours. What might a vessel be? What could a vessel be at the end of the world? Thank you.